And we're live.
Speaking of like fantasy stuff, we got Harley. Have you ever read the Stormlight Archive?
No.
Have you heard of it?
No.
So it's called the Stormlight Archive. Woody's listening to it. Like we're going through the whole series. Every book is like 1,200 pages of like dense, good fantasy, like really good fantasy. It's the best fantasy I've read in fucking forever.
Let me know when Netflix is buying it.
Well, Kyle was saying just like on Tuesday during PKN was like, hey, I got a lot on my plate. I'm not sure if I want to jump into a 5,000 page book series. And then I texted in our group and I'm like, Kyle, do you want me to mail you the books? Knowing that there's no excuse not to read them once I've sent him
this is related to
$100 worth of books. And so I packaged them up and shipped them off to him yesterday morning before he could say no. And so Monday, you got 3,500 pages of books coming to you, and you're gonna like it. And Harley, I know you're a fantasy guy. Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. You'll really enjoy it.
Is it related to Mistborn?
It is the same guy.
But not different series though.
Totally different series.
Because Mistborn gets recommended on Reddit all the time.
Oh, well, I'm sure it's good. He's an excellent author. I bought the Mistborn series to read after this one. I bought every single book that Brandon Sanderson has written.
I will take this recommendation.
I'm loving it. Yeah,
I'm on it.
Stormlight Archive
blows me away, Taylor.
Oh, I'm in a reading phase. I'm reading everything. I'm just loving it. It's great.
I'll definitely
Trailer
check
Park
this out.
Boys. Now my new background show is I put on Trailer Park Boys, turn the volume down a bit, and then I read Stormlight Art. That's what I'm going to do right after this.
At first, I thought you were going to say you were reading the Trailer Park Boys books. I was like, there are books.
I don't think there are. Yeah, that would be ridiculous. It'd be very short books.
Yeah, I'm going to start on it as soon as it gets here. I guess I'll pick it up. I am this way with books though. Like if I get like 50 pages in and I'm not interested yet, I'm done. I will not like. I'm not going to sit there for. I can't sit there for 2 hours or something.
You're going to enjoy like this. One of this guy's like rules of writing is like limitations are more interesting than powers. And like that is true. And so like unlike a lot of fantasy series where it's like, Kaladin can fly. That's what he can do or whatever it is. He like lays out like the actual magic thing where he's like, it's called the lashing. And that's how you change your direction. You can do a half one to hover and you can change your direction in the air. Cause all it is you're not flying, you're changing where gravity pulls you. So you can change and say gravity pulls you to the side. So you're flying there. You can change your direction. It's super interesting and good. You got to give it.
I will absolutely give this a shot. And Woody, did you know that we talk about it that 3 Body Problem is coming to Netflix?
Ooh.
No.
Yeah, Netflix bought it, and the guy who was in charge of the rights to it was like poisoned through a meal, like in December 2020. Just a side note, maybe it's related. But there was billions. It was like $1 billion on the table for it. It was like really expensive deal, and they didn't want to like sell it, and they sold it to Netflix. And some guy that was involved in the company died. But yeah,
now that you say it, we talked about it on the show. I remember, and
that always happens,
dude. When I listen to the Stormlight Archives, I think about it as a Netflix show, and it would be expensive to make.
Oh yeah.
Do you hear about Lord of the Rings Amazon Prime show?
Yeah.
$350 million per episode.
They are going to ruin Lord of the Rings.
And nobody is cast yet.
I have no confidence in Amazon doing
it's
Lord
not
of the Rings
$350
well
an
at
episode.
all.
Why don't you think it would be good?
I just can't picture Amazon doing that great a job portraying the
I'll tell you one thing.
I don't think they'll do a good job.
I'll tell you one thing. The Expanse is a phenomenal show, and the most recent seasons have been on Amazon. The Boys is one of the best shows I've seen on TV. I know it's animated, but Invincible is also one of the best shows. They have like 3 of my favorite shows, and they make them. They have my trust now. In a sense, better than Netflix does.
I thought Jack Ryan was quite good.
Maybe.
I like Jack Ryan, but I also like the one that everyone hated, Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan.
Knowing
like
Amazon, they're going to put in a bunch of extra characters or remove characters. Like I'm
as
afraid of
what would you want? What story would you want them to tell as a Lord of the Rings guy? you wouldn't want them to do the same thing again, right? Wouldn't you want them to do? What was that book called, The Silmarillion? Isn't there a bunch of stories there or whatever?
Well,
What if
there's a ton of stories in the Silmarillion, but the Silmarillion is also like the disjointed ravings of a madman, like in a large way, where it's like he'll finish like, and this is what happened in the first stage. Oh, but also this happened, and this is another thing. Like, it's really not. It's structured so poorly. It's difficult. It really, if you've ever read the Silmarillion, it's difficult to get through. I would say I would like them to go to the first stage where they were physically fighting Sauron. That would be cool. Go back then where it's Elrond, Gandalf. Like obviously Sauron's on the right side at that point. Like that would be interesting. I would like that. I don't want to see them rehash the same series while adding and removing characters needlessly, because I just have in my head this fear that they're going to do what they did with The Hobbit, where they just throw random bits in for no reason and remove other bits, and they lose the plot at some point.
Bro, fuck The Hobbit. You know what they should do? They should also, like, on the topic of ruining things, they should take, because apparently George R. R. Martin's finishing Game of Thrones, and like, fuck Game of Thrones, right?
Oh,
but,
is he?
Yeah. I think they should take like the last 3 seasons and fix it and just do it and like give it to like some cool ass Japanese anime company and like release it like that. I'd watch it. Wouldn't be that expensive.
Dude, I'd watch that too. Especially if they came back and voiced their roles. I would absolutely watch an animation fixing the last season of Game of Thrones.
You know what my dumbest statement was like 7 years ago when I was like, Game of Thrones is better than Lord of the Rings. I take that back now.
Yeah,
I believed it though. I really believed it.
Better. I think Game of Thrones is better than Lord of the Rings. If they had in every way.
They're incest, bro. Aren't you keeping up with him?
I think it's a more adult series. I think that Lord of the Rings is kind of like they got kid gloves on for so much of it. You know, like nothing bad really happens to any of our main characters. Like some of those hobbits should have gotten stomped the fuck out.
No one got their dicks cut off.
Nobody got their dicks cut off. Like nobody died, and you know,
Boromir died. Gandalf died.
Gandalf came back, and he got a badass suit. Gandalf
got upgraded, but Boromir
not only did he get upgraded, like Azora. What's not? No, that's the other. Who's the god in Lord of the Rings? I know Morgoth is like the devil,
like the Valar.
No, like the god, like the creator of everything. The guy who created the Valar.
Oh, I don't know all the fucking.
Anyway, that guy like pulled Gandalf to like his fucking Eru or something to his like timeless temple or whatever. Right. And you know, gave him the white robes and all the extra powers and everything, and like so he didn't really die. Like it's a cool part of the story because you don't realize that he's going to come right the fuck back. But like I don't know, it's a bit of it's more of a teen series. Look, I love it. It's one of my favorite things ever.
But I feel you just prefer the brutality of the Game of Thrones, and you feel like it's a little more real.
I like the stakes because like if Martin had written the Lord of the Rings, they might not have destroyed the ring.
You know what would have happened? Merry and Pippin would have been like 69ing in that cornfield.
They would have been
first
fucking
chapter.
So much, bro.
Gandalf would have.
You'd have been like, "What about second breakfast?" Licking Mary's ass.
Oh, right here between my legs, little hobbit.
That's the way it would have gone. Aragorn would have molested them once they got out into the wilds.
Yeah.
I'm not sure my mic is good enough to participate.
Yeah, you're good. Right
Lord of the Rings didn't have enough stakes. No, I meant to say Game of Thrones didn't have enough stakes. Once you figured out who like the whatever plot armor was
ready for that point.
Fuck. I've said this time and time again. Jon Snow should have died.
He did.
Jon Snow should have died. Absolutely.
Why'd he come back?
In Battle of the Bastards.
Why'd he come back?
He should have died. He should have died. Walking Dead has higher stakes than any other show there is.
See, I read that when I read that
safe character on Walking Dead.
You know what show has the highest stakes? My 600-pound life. Because they will be told by that mean Iranian man, like, you are going to die if you don't get it under control. And it is and they'll be like, I was eating nothing more than 200 calories a day and I've still lost. You have lost 13 pounds in the last month. You are lying. That dude,
liar.